Last week I said some things about our new WWE, what is it, the United States champion Logan Paul that upset some people. So I'm gonna set the record straight. Logan Paul as a guy, not a fan. As a wrestler, I can honestly say, and I've said it before, he hasn't had a match yet that hasn't been just an absolute banger. So as a wrestler, I've got respect for the guy. Like, I don't understand. He's got all this stuff going on, and I don't understand all these people that just run out and try to support everything he does. And they try to get their prime drinks all the time, and that's good.
What you think? So The Rock is on Buddy's list. The Rock is on my list. The Rock is on your list. The Rock is on our chat's list. The real question that we need to ask the Not Your Average Mark Wrestling podcast is, can any of us here smell what The Rock is cooking?
It doesn't matter if you smell.
Oh my goodness, it doesn't.
But it's things like that. It doesn't matter. Again, table, there will possibly be a table there that might or might not have something to do with the match. Come out and see us. I want to say thank you again to everybody in the chat. Thank you to the boys for being here tonight. I want to say thank you to Ross and the boys from Labor 12 for being here. With these guys every time.
We're there.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
All right. So it looks like we're having a couple of issues.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, there we go. Now we got some.
Told you, I'm adulting better than him already.
All right, Hunter, say ass.
What?
Say ass.
No.
You're an adult. Come on, don't be scared.
You're an adult. You can say ass now.
No.
See, he's been a good boy.
Is going to be the year for West Texas Wrestling, especially at Squared Circle Pro. But July 19th, that is going to be an event that you will not want to miss under any circumstances, because I am dead set to make that night the biggest night in West Texas wrestling history.
And leading the way and
many freaking matches.
You were talking trash about Drew McIntyre the other day.
I was.
Easy.
Okay, no. All right. I was just saying he's not number one pick contention.
That's not true.
I mean, but
Okay, stop this violence.
All right.
No more Russell on Russell violence. Unless I'm doing it.
that's funny. All right. So, anyways,
You don't have to. Please just let me finish the conversation. I don't want to do this. I don't. Just. No! Look at this! This belongs to me! Not you! None of this! Jim, this belongs to me! Me! I earned this! Not you!
stuff.
So you had a B plus on Raw, B minus on SmackDown, had a B plus and a B. You want to know what show got an absolute S plus in my opinion?
SCP, that's the one.
That's right. Squared Circle Pro's Tornado Slam. What a show. From start to finish. Damn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We had
We need to talk about that.
tickle.
That's how the saying goes.
What? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, tickle, tickle. I think, Rick, if be concerned if he ever comes to you talking about tickle, tickle. Just, I mean,
Hey,
I don't.
all right.
I'm not sure what's going on there.
At the hour and a half mark, I think we've gotten a little.
And even beat him. Sorry to say, but he's a legend. But to be the best, you must beat the best, And I feel like I can beat him. So Chavo, I'm calling you out. I said, come on.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to tonight's episode of the Not Your Average Mark Wrestling Podcast. I am your host. I am the tutorial boss, the one and only Guapo. With me, a lady that needs no introduction. She wakes up every morning, chooses violence, the OTB Lilith Blood. Lilith, what's up?
How's everybody doing tonight?
You know, it's a good night. It's, you know, we're coming up on Friday. We're going to get a little SmackDown going on. You know, it's finally starting to cool down a little bit in Lubbock, because I ain't gonna lie, you know, took a picture of it on my truck today where we were at 113 degrees, and that sucks.
Oh, we were like 106 or 108 yesterday, but we got our cool off today, thank God.
Well, it's finally starting to cool down here, but this show we're about to have is gonna be anything but cooled down. I mean, that's that way anytime you're on the show. So before we get
Appreciate
started,
that.
though, I do want to say what's up to everybody that's watching, everybody that's listening right now. Say what's up to everybody in the chat. See Rick in there. We got a new follower, Kijomo Liam. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you. Of course, we got J-Reb, our boy Cameron, in here saying he was at the coast, 67 there and 101 at the house. Good Lord. It's a hell of a difference, man. BCW Texas in the house. Mikey with us. What's up, Mike? Glad all of you could be here tonight. It's going to be such a great show tonight. Want to give a few thank yous out before we get started. Of course, Ross and the boys from Labor 12 for our intro outro music. Track's called Head Rush, album's called Monsters. If you haven't checked it out, I don't know what the hell you're waiting on, honestly. I mean, it's a great album. They're working on album number 2, and you can keep up with everything Ross and the boys have going on by going to labor12.com. That's laborxii.com. I want to say thank you to Joseph and American Legacy for our merch. Of course, we got your Not Your Average Mark hats. We've got beanies, skull caps, and we're just about there on Click All the Things t-shirts. So we got a few more things coming, and it's going to be cool. Our merch table is going to look a little different. It's going to be pretty awesome. Want to say thank you to Cameron, J-Reb, there in the chat. If you see this little piece of awesomeness right here, J-Reb hooked us up with that. If you've got a logo or a picture, something that you would like to have in an LED box like that, J-Reb is the man to hook you up. You can get a hold of him at jrebs3dprinting.com. This thing, it comes with the remote, does all sorts of different kinds of LED flashing and fading. It's awesome. So big thanks to J-Reb for that. HeckYeahRadio.com. Big thank you to TJ and everybody over there. If you missed one of our shows, you can go to HeckYeahRadio.com, click on the button that says Not Your Average Mark, and you will have access to all of our audio podcasts. Of course, got to thank Blind Ambition Studios for all the graphics. If you were on social media today and you saw that awesome graphic about the show tonight, Blind Ambition Studios, I might happen to know who's running that.
Maybe.
Big thank you, Lilith, for all these awesome graphics. And then, of course, I want to thank the guy that makes everything happen, the person who puts it all together, the one, the only, the guy. He does so much work that you guys don't see, so I want to, throw him all the flowers. One of the things he's done is he has set up our website, notyouraverage.mark.com. You could actually be watching the show right now on notyouraverage.mark.com. If you don't have Twitch, don't do socials, you can go to notyouraverage.mark.com, watch the show live, watch previous episodes. Our merch is on there. You need somebody to do some commentary, you can hit us up there. We'll take care of you. It's all right there, notyouraverage.mark.com. So now that we got all of that out of the way, it's been a hell of a week as far as wrestling goes. We've got Daddy Boss 74 saying click all the things. Appreciate you throwing it out there, Daddy Boss. Like I said, hell of a week in wrestling thus far. I'm not going to say a whole lot about SmackDown. SmackDown, of course, being the go-home show for SummerSlam, and it was just that. It was a great go-home show. We got to see new tag team champions crowned in the Bloodline. Tonga Loa not able to compete. He's being the Samoan Pirate right now. Eye injury, I believe he got at the hands of Kevin Owens. So Jacob Fatu stepping up with Tama Tonga, and they are your new tag team champions. So that took us into SummerSlam. And something I want to say about SummerSlam. Okay, I've always liked SummerSlam. They always do interesting things with it. Next year, it's going to be a 2-night show. Like, it's cool. But the one thing they did that I've never seen before is most of your referees had a camera right here. And I think it's an interesting concept to be able to see what the referee sees. They didn't use it as much as I hoped they would have, but it really is kind of a cool setup. I mean, I don't know how they move around and still keep that camera right there, but
I think that's part of it. I think they've got some bugs to work out because I noticed that partway through Seth ripped his off.
yeah, it was.
I think it was getting in his way.
So let's kick right into SummerSlam. The very first match of the night: Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. This may have been one of the most physical matches I've seen out of either one of these ladies. Like, it was brutal. I would say if anyone's got any questions about Rhea Ripley's toughness, it was on full display in this match.
Yeah.
The shoulder dislocation, and then she dislocates her shoulder, does, fights off Liv best she can, and then rams her shoulder into the announce that, like, that's some straight up Lilith blood shit right there.
I've never had to do that, but I have seen my husband do it.
Ugh.
Yeah, I've actually seen Damien use the ring post to pop his shoulder back into place. It's
Well, for having that happen, this was a great match. The physicality, again, I just can't say enough about it. They went at each other, and in the end, we got kind of what we thought we might see. And we had Dom come in and take the chair away from Rhea and tell her, "You can't win the championship like that. You'll get disqualified." And then distract the refs so that Liv could use the chair to win the match. So I think we all kind of saw the Dom turn coming, but
yeah.
they did it pretty grandiose with this. We got Damian Blood in the chat. Damian, what's up, brother? He said that sucked on multiple levels. I can't even imagine. Like, I've had mine out before, and I ran it into a wall one time and swore I'd never do that again. That hurts.
There's a lot to be said for what adrenaline does to you, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I say, in the end, we get Liv winning with help from Dom. And then just to make it grandiose, he plants a big old kiss on Liv, and they back out of there together. I have never seen Rhea Ripley that, I don't want to say emotional, but it wasn't, she was going through the gambit of emotions. No question about that.
Yeah, she was livid. And rightfully so, but
I spent a whole lot of time throughout this storyline talking about how the hell did Dom get in this position? Like, never in my life did I think I would use the words, "Man, I wish I was Dominic Mysterio." And I did a couple of times. Not anymore. I in no way, shape, or form want to be Dominic Mysterio right now, because it's fixing to be bad days for him.
yeah, he's finding himself in a really bad position.
Damien said she was livid.
Didn't even mean to do that, but that's perfect.
That's great. We went from that into Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker for the IC Championship. This one went fast. Like, I almost feel like maybe Rhea and Liv went long. So maybe they trimmed a little off of this match. It ended in the way I was pretty sure it was going to. Braun Breaker hits the spear, gets the pin, 1, 2, 3, and we have a new Intercontinental Champion. Like,
And he is so amazing to watch. Like, he's somebody I'm kind of in awe of, because anybody that is built that way and is that agile is so dangerous.
it is. And his run up to the ropes and hitting the Frankensteiner, I haven't seen
I love it.
Frankensteiner since the Steiners were doing it.
Yeah.
It was so good.
The first time I saw that, I popped really hard because I'd never seen him do it before, and that was impressive, to say the least.
Oh, absolutely. There's a whole lot that he does that's impressive. I'm excited about his intercontinental run and where he's going to go with this. One thing about this, I feel like, kind of pulling back the curtain a little bit. I felt like Braun was going to get this because we need to free Sammy up for some potential bloodline things going on. So I kind of felt like that was going to happen. I just kind of wish it would have been a little more. Like I said, I feel like they trimmed it because maybe Rhea and Liv went a little long.
Yeah.
But it was a good match. I enjoyed it, and I am excited to see where Breakker goes with this. We went from that to Logan Paul versus LA Knight. Yeah. Can't guess who I was rooting for, right?
Yeah.
This one for the U.S. Championship. MGK walked I don't know how he walks in the building, because the last time he came in the building, he got put off the stage through tables by Kevin Owens. So I would be looking over my shoulder walking in there, and he stayed back a little bit, but I'm sorry, I can't stand MGK.
I can't either. That's why I made that face and kind of shook my head, because I don't have anything nice to say.
I have for a very long time referred to him as BB Gun Karen. I can't with him. I don't. Ugh. I would rather it be Tiffy time than have to deal with MGK on WWE television.
Well, because she's kind of annoying. Like, the gimmick's annoying, but she's good. So, yeah, I'd rather watch that all day long than anything with Machine Gun Kelly.
Damian saying she's fixing to go in on MGK.
No, the only nice thing I can say about him is I don't hate the song he did with Jelly Roll. I don't like it either, but I don't hate it. So I guess that's something.
I'll give him that one. I will say, I'm not. J-Reb says I'm not making an MGK keychain. Good, because don't nobody want them. MGK don't want an MGK keychain. I just can't with that dude. I will say that song. You're right. That song's all right, and Jelly Roll has a pretty good size back to carry that. So, I'm gonna get off of him now. I'm gonna leave it alone. This match was awesome. I enjoyed it. As much as I'm not a fan of Logan Paul the person, you cannot deny his in-ring ability.
Yeah.
Like he has put in the work, and I'm a fan. I enjoy watching it. The moonsault.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I'm watching that going, oh, this is either going to be really cool or really, really bad.
It is really hard not to be impressed by him by how naturally he has figured out the in-ring part of everything.
No, absolutely. And look at the matches he's had. Like, not just this LA Knight match, but the big moment he had with Ricochet as they're jumping across the ropes from each other. He's been in with Seth. I mean, he cannot be denied as far as the talent.
Yeah.
And of course, I don't have to tell you about LA Knight. Yeah.
I needed this for him. I was so happy at the end of this match because he was one of those guys that he was almost there so many times, and I didn't want them to finally pull the trigger and find out it was too late. And it wasn't anything he did, and it's not even anything Triple H did, just kind of how shit was there for a while with a lot of people. But I was afraid he was going to suffer, and I was so glad to hear the crowd at the end of that match and the way they reacted to it.
Well, and here's my thing about LA Knight. The reason I respect LA Knight so much is he is an organic talent. All of the way he's over, he did that. It wasn't, don't get me wrong. I like Roman Reigns, but it wasn't a case like it is with Roman Reigns where we're going to take Roman Reigns. He's going to be the face of the company, and we're going to shove him down your throat until you like him.
Yeah.
LA Knight was organic. He did it himself, and I respect the hell out of that. And I think that's why the crowd, much like you were saying, the crowd was on this ride with him and couldn't be more excited when he hits the BFT and gets the win. So it's so great to see finally have some gold on LA Knight. course, you realize that, it's not official or anything. This is my thought. You realize he's fixing to go into it with Carmelo Hayes, right? Like
I can see that.
We've got Mike in the chat saying prime example of too late is 93 Luger. Exactly. That's waiting too long to let it happen.
Yeah.
I was all about this match. I thought it was great. Like you said, the crowd reaction when he won was outstanding. There has been some questions go out. Did Logan Paul have his foot on the ropes? Did he have his foot under the ropes? So there's some questions there, but I don't think anybody can question that we're in for a hell of a reign from LA Knight as U.S. champion. We go from one championship to another. We had Bayley versus Nia Jax for the WWE Women's Championship. This match was outstanding. And here's the thing to me, this was probably the least popped match on the show. But to me, it was one of the best because there were big things that happened in this. The biggest for me was the walking power bomb Bayley did on Nia Jax. When's the last time you saw that happen?
Yeah, I can't remember.
That was huge. Bayley's just one of those people. I mean, Bayley's one of those people that if you get in the ring with Bayley, she is going to elevate you. Looking over at the chat, being asked if you got something going in the background, says sounds like somebody's vacuuming. I'm not sure where it's coming from.
Do what?
It says sounds like there's something going on in the background, and I'm not
It's
sure.
probably my air conditioner, honestly.
Well, as hot as it's been, you're gonna let that air conditioner run.
Yeah.
Damn, it's been hot.
It is kind of loud. That's why it's the one in my studio, because it doesn't work all that great. But yeah, if it's annoying, I'm sorry, guys.
No, it's all good. I think everybody can realize with the heat we've had in this area of Texas, air conditioner is going to happen.
Yeah, it was better today, but it was still like mid-90s. I mean, it wasn't like it really cooled off. But I mean, when it's been 108, 93 actually feels pretty fucking awesome.
That's West Texas for you. Right? We built different. I can't say enough about this match. I mean, Bayley has elevated everybody she's been in the ring with, and that includes Nia Jax. Nia Jax already on one for this, her return. She's done absolutely great. Can't say enough nice things about her. But putting her in the ring with Bayley was definitely the move. Of course, we had Tiffany Stratton come out. Pretty sure she was going to cash in, but Bayley kind of knocked her onto the floor. Oh, golly darn. But that proved to be her undoing because she got the brutal beatdown, and your new women's champion, Nia Jax. And she's on a run. I mean, Queen of the Ring. Now she's the WWE Women's Champion. I feel like this goes to Tiffy cashing in on Nia at some point, but I'm about it. I like this. I like where they're going with the story. This match did big things, and I loved it.
Well, the big question will be, when does she turn on her friend and cash in? That's going to be the big. When will she? Won't she?
Nepotism at its finest. I could see that.
Was that my husband?
That was, in fact, your husband.
He's not a fan of Nia.
Well, like I said, I wasn't a fan of Nia Jax, but this run that she's on this time, you can tell that she's put in the work. You can tell that she has trained to a point where she's able to do the things she does without hurting people, and that was the whole reason. That was the whole thing I had against her, was she was clumsy and she was hurting people. And
I heard the term reckless used with her a lot, and that's never good.
No, that's a term you don't want used. That took us into the match that I think everybody was waiting for. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre with special guest referee Seth freaking Rollins. I have been looking for this one. And I mean, I don't have it probably has the most story impact out of all of the matches we had that night. I don't think I have to tell anybody how much Taker versus Brett this had written all over it, all the way down to the ring attire. You know, Punk came out in pink and black. Drew came out looking like, you know, a Scottish version of the Undertaker. We even got Seth Rollins laying across the ropes, you know, a la the Heartbreak Kid. So I was like, are we gonna get the same finish? We almost did. Like we had the whole chair shot and stopped short of actually hitting Punk with the chair. So I honestly thought we were fixing to get it all over again. This was a fun one to watch. I like
Yeah.
that Seth just kind of played up to the whole I don't see that, I'm tying my shoe. Or I think probably my favorite thing that happened was a legitimate 2 count. Like Seth counted it, it was a 2 count, Punk kicked out. Drew just starts staring darts at him, and he looks at Drew and says, "Why are you mad at me? Do better." Like that's gonna be my line moving forward. Why are you mad at me? Do better.
Yep.
The bracelet, of course, came into play, and I think we all knew that it would. Punk finally gets it back. It ends up on the mat. Seth picks it up just to get it out of the way. Doesn't have any pockets because I'm pretty sure he's wearing Becky's clothes, and let's face it, they don't have pockets. It was a rhinestone referee shirt. I mean, if anybody's going to pull off a rhinestone referee shirt, it's Seth Rollins, but still, it was a rhinestone referee shirt. And then rhinestone Jinkos? What? Like, tell me that's not coming back.
I guess I'm gonna have to find a new bedazzler if rhinestones are where we're going.
See, no.
No, that was a really good match, and like, okay, this is not something I talk a lot about out loud. Like, we've agreed we keep this in our home, and we actually got to a point for a while we didn't talk about CM Punk. What they've done with him and Drew for this last little bit, I actually don't dislike CM Punk as much anymore. I'm not saying I'm a fan. I'm not willing to go there, and I know my husband's probably losing his mind right now. But yeah, they've really, because Punk's attitude seems to have changed overall, and you can tell that because he seems like he's really enjoying what he's doing, and like he's there with a purpose, and I'm kind of okay with it. And I've not been a big fan. I've said some really horrible things about him in the privacy of our home.
Well, Damien says it's because he's the best in the world. Well, I will say this about Punk. I love the storytelling aspect of what's going on here because we went, 3 months of back and forth between Punk and Drew, and they never touched each other.
Yeah.
And it was the best storyline running. So, I mean, I do love what they're doing with Punk. I think Punk has humbled himself a bit after how he left WWE, after what went down in AEW. I think he's finally looked back and said, okay, maybe I ought to calm down a little bit. And it's worked well for him. So, like I said, the bracelet got involved in this. Seth picks up the bracelet, doesn't have any pockets, puts the bracelet on. Punk sees this, ends up giving him a go to sleep. That was, while it was fun to watch, it's what cost him the match. Right after that happened, Drew hits the Claymore, hits the Future Shock DDT, gets the win, and couldn't be happier about it, and takes the bracelet again.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what? Damien making a good point. It says it's allowing us to see a different side of Drew also. Absolutely. Yeah. I love don't get me wrong. I want to go back to the Scottish Psychopath. That was my favorite iteration of Drew McIntyre. I loved every minute of it. But I feel like what he's doing right now is the perfect mix of who he's been recently and that psychopath character. It's a great mix.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it. I love it. It's great. All in all, this was, I don't want to say match of the night, but it was damn close. Moving on, we've got Damian Priest versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. This is a match I was actually excited for this. Before we get into it, Rick in the chat saying Punk got in his own way. Drew turning the Drew argument on the man making the argument. Yeah, exactly. So the whole thing in this storyline has been, Drew, you're not doing things right because you get in your own way. And then Drew being there to watch Punk get in his own way. Like, does it get better than that? And it's not like that's a storyline killer. Like that just adds a layer. And
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where it goes. I mean, apparently it's going to go Drew CM Punk, which we'll get into that when we start talking about Raw, because we may not keep step for a little bit.
That's another reason I'm not chiming in too much yet, because I watched Raw, and yeah. There's kind of a lot to talk about there too.
So Damian Priest versus Gunther, this was the epitome of a fight. Like, I don't think they pulled a single punch in this. The shots were stiff, the rage seemed real, the intensity was there during the whole match. Both of these guys had bleeding chests by the time it was done. I mean, this had fight feel. And that's the direction they're pushing Damian, and I'm about it. Like, this is the Damian Priest I've been wanting to see.
Yeah. I think it's like that for a lot of people, and I think that's why he immediately got the reaction he's getting, because the title run was a little flat, but that doesn't matter now, because that made Gunther so much better, and now we've got Priest where we need him. So it was perfect.
Exactly. And Damian saying he woke up and chose violence for once. See what happens when you wake up and choose violence? Good things happen. Well, maybe not for the person across from you, but
Yeah,
for you,
depends on which side of the violence you're on. But yes.
Priest has solidified himself, in my opinion, as the whole package. Like, he's gotten the mic skills down. These last few promos that he's done have been outstanding. So he's doing well on the mic. He's got the in-ring down. He has solidified himself as a player in this game, and I'm happy for him. He took the fight to Gunther. Gunther gave it right back to him. In the end, Finn Balor comes out to cheer on his Judgment Day teammate, only to cost him the match. He had the 1, 2, 3. Finn Balor grabbing Gunther's foot, putting it on the ropes, breaking it up. The still of the night for this. Like, if you could take one scene and make a still photo out of it, was Gunther holding on to Damian Priest by the waist, Damian Priest diving through the ropes with his hand around Finn's neck. Like, that was the picture of the night for me.
Yeah, it was a great moment.
It was, and I hope to see more of that. This, of course, cost him the match. Gunther gets the pin, gets the win, and he is the new heavyweight champion, which works out well because our next show is in Berlin, and who better to be champion in Berlin than Gunther?
Yep.
That took us to our main event, which was, of course, Cody versus Solo. This match was made a Bloodline rules match, and it really surprised the hell out of me. I'm not gonna lie. Before we get there though, I've heard all sorts of people giving praise to Jelly Roll for his choke slam that he did on Austin Theory. I need to throw some praise out there, throw some flowers out to Austin Theory, because nobody in the game sells like Austin Theory sells right now.
That is absolute truth.
While it was cool to see Jelly Roll do that, that was about 20% Jelly Roll and about 80% Austin Theory, and he made it look outstanding.
But one of my favorite moments of the entire night happened in that segment, and that was R-Truth calling Theory and Waller the Rock and Roll Express.
Ask Ricky Morton.
Because
I love how they did it.
R-Truth he is something else, and he just
R-Truth
be
is a
that
national
ridiculous,
treasure and should be treated as such.
but sell it with such conviction that it just makes it magical when he does stuff like that, and I just love it. And I also love that Rock and Roll got a shout out. That was pretty fucking cool.
That is, I love to see that, and I love the way they transitioned it. Well, if that's not Ricky Morton, if this ain't the Rock and Roll Express, then who's that? And there's Jelly Roll standing there with a chair.
yeah.
He too woke up and chose violence. I'm seeing a theme here.
He knows.
Not only did we get a Jelly Roll choke slam, and we got a Rock and Roll Express shout out. Did anybody have an Arn Anderson appearance on their bingo card? Because I know I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't either. That was pretty freaking cool.
I popped. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, "What? The Enforcer?" It was cool to see Arn there. It's also cool that they allowed Cody to walk Pharaoh almost to the ring, because this is, Pharaoh's like 13 years old, so this is going to be Pharaoh's last road trip. So it was awesome that the WWE provided that opportunity. I'm a dog. I got 2 dogs myself, and I love my dogs. And for him to have that opportunity, I think was awesome. This match really surprised me, though. It's a Bloodline rules match. I was expecting Bloodline from the jump, but we spent probably a good 70% of this match Solo and Cody. Just Solo and Cody. And the back and forth between them is great. I mean, both of them great in their own right, but you put them in the ring together, and it doesn't get much better than that. Solid match from both of them, but towards the end, the Bloodline would make their presence known. They get to start getting the beat down in on Cody. Here comes Kevin Owens. I was trying to catch, as they were zooming by, I was trying to catch the crowd to see if MGK took off running when Kevin Owens' music hit. Because I'm sure he's got some flashbacks in that. But Kevin Owens comes out, joins the fight. Randy Orton comes out. So they're fighting Tongalo and Tama Tonga out into the crowd. Here comes Jacob Fatu. That man, I don't think he even, I think he wakes up and violence chooses him. Like, that guy is just insanity. Like,
that seems fair. That checks.
Well, and so he gets the beat down in as well, gets up on the top rope, has Cody on the announce table and splashes him from there, hurts his leg. Like, they played it back and I watched it, and I don't think he broke it, like a lot of people were speculating to begin with.
We thought for sure it was broken, but the fact that we haven't really heard anything.
Well, if you've ever hit your shin on anything just at a walk, imagine diving off a top rope and doing it. So, yeah, I can understand him not wanting to get up.
I have dents in my shins from all of the times I checked myself on, like, the bike pedals or the coffee table. I really do. Like, I can feel little bumps in my shin bone. So, yeah, I get it.
I pulled the damn stinger off my truck, the hitch. I pulled it off my truck, put it in the when I
Oh,
needed
yeah. You only do that once.
Yeah. That hurt a lot. So I can't even imagine coming off the top rope and hitting the way he did. And they replayed it. It was ugly.
Yeah.
But that kept him down, which was good, because as Cody Rhodes is trying to move around some, the music hits and the place goes ape shit. The tribal chief, the OTC, which, that's one letter away from gimmick infringement. I want to make
I know.
Roman needs to watch this stuff. But
I was here first, damn it.
The original tribal chief, Roman Reigns, makes his way out. Crowd loses it. Roman slides in the ring. Looks like he's going after Cody. Superman punches, as my wife calls it, the foot of the table, Solo Sikoa, and turns around and gets out. And he starts walking out. Cody gets back in the ring, gives Solo the crossroads. And I love the fact that they ended that with Cody's just dead stare on Roman as he gets the pin. Like, I thought that was the perfect way to do it. And still, your
Yep.
Universal Champion, Cody Rhodes. Like, that's how, all in all, this card was an A. Absolutely. Like, there wasn't a match I didn't like on this card.
That's absolutely fair. It was an amazing show.
I don't know how they're going to top that. I really don't, because this one had the energy.
Yeah.
Like, if you've watched PLEs for a while, you know that every now and then you get some shows that this match was great and that match was great, but the rest of it was kind of, I'm going to go get a drink, or, this was, the whole show was good. It had
Yeah.
moments that I'm like, why are they doing that? But they were brief moments and there weren't very many of them. So all in all, I give it an A. I thought this was a great PLE, and it led into a great Raw.
Yeah, Raw was fantastic.
Before we get into Raw, I do want to take just a moment to, again, thank everybody that's watching, everybody in the chat. I'm so glad you guys are here. I love that y'all are joining in on the chat. That makes it so much more fun for us. So thank you for keeping the chat popping. King Cochino, I see you're in here. It's a pleasure to have you here. If you get the opportunity, go hit our socials. Go hit, hit the website, hit all of our socials. Click the bells, click the whistles, click the subscribes, click all the things, because it brings our content out to more people, brings more people in to chat with us. So I'm all about growing what we're doing. I'm all about getting more eyes on, West Texas independent wrestling, on wrestling in general, making more fans, because when it boils down to it, that's what we are. We're fans to get the opportunity to sit on a podcast and talk about wrestling. And we want to bring more people into that. So if you get the opportunity, go out and click all the things, and then tell your mama, tell your grandmama's friends, tell them all to come check out the Not Your Average Mark Wrestling podcast. Now that I got my shameless plug out of the way, let's get into some Raw. So we start out with Gunther coming out talking about, I said I was going to get the title. I got the title. And Randy Orton's music hits. Out comes Randy. See, I was surprised, but it's funny to hear Gunther say, I'm ready for anybody and anything. I'll take on anybody. I'm ready for anything. And even he says, okay, I was caught off guard when I heard Randy Orton's music. I wasn't expecting that. I think this is going to be a banger match. Like, I like the fact that they're going straight into, this is your first opponent.
Yeah.
And I don't know that this is going to be, Flair versus Steamboat like Randy was talking. But, I mean, you know what? It has potential. I think it's going to be really, really good. I can't wait for that match. And that's like the 28th, 29th, something like that of this month. So, I don't have to wait long.
Gunther, with that big gold belt on his shoulder in his suit, has such an old school vibe. I told Damien earlier, I was like, it's like he walked out of the 60s because there wasn't enough competition back then. He just reminds me of those like Lou Thesz type champions, and I'm here for it. I love it.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. It does have that feel to it, and I think he's going to be a great champ. And I don't think he loses the belt anytime soon.
No, probably not.
I'm looking over at the chat. Rick says, I love that we got the callback to the wonky pin at King of the Ring. Thank you, Trips, for paying attention to continuity. That is what WWE has been missing for the last few years that is in place now, is the continuity and the callbacks to things that happen, and the planting a seed in July and finding out that little bitty seed that was planted in July is the storyline in December. Like, I love that they're keeping that kind of continuity. Damien in the chat saying the comparison was a bad move, sets expectations way too high. That was my biggest concern, is when you say something like that, you have set an expectation. So if your match falls short of Flair versus Steamboat, that's not good for anybody. But if there are two people that can pull that kind of expectation,
there's the other piece of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for it. After that, we got Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser, or excuse me, Ludwig. I got talked to about my pronunciations a while back. Ludwig Kaiser. It's a good match, and I like that it reopens that rivalry. Because they were going at it before, and it kind of stopped for a little while, and it reopens that rivalry. We did get an appearance from Pete Dunne. You know, last time he came out, he hit Sheamus with a shillelagh in the forehead, and that ended that. Did not work out that way this time. Sheamus hits the knee, and then the brogue kick gets the win. Got Rick in the chat saying we're talking about the comparison being a bad move because it sets expectation. Rick says, but does it? Because how many of today's fans are going to remember Flair versus Steamboat? Me. I'm going to remember it. There is, I understand that there is a much younger crowd watching the show, but I have found through doing this podcast and through talking to people that there are quite a few people out there that go back and they hear something like that. They hear Randy Orton say, we're going to do like Flair and Steamboat. And they go back and they say, well, what's he talking about? And they see some of the older stuff. And as like Damien said, it's being referenced is going to cause people to go look it up. And that is what's happening. Rick says maybe, but those same fans will say Flair Steamboat's too slow. It's because they're stupid. But I'm kidding. You guys are not stupid. It is a much faster paced sport.
It was a different style.
Yes.
It was a different style. And I get not everybody now appreciates that, just like a lot of the old timers don't appreciate the quickness that is in ring now. So
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, Sheamus did get the win in this one. I went from that to Lyra Valkyria versus Shayna Baszler. I really, really didn't like this. Not because there was anything wrong with it, but because this seemed like filler, and I hate filler. Especially this filler, because Lyra has been absolutely amazing thus far. Like, they could have made this a match. I mean, I get it. It was meant to set up Damage Control and Sonya Zoe and Shayna Baszler. Like, I get that was the setup. Damien says, how dare you call me an old timer? I got you on this one. Damien is not an old timer. He's a young man with an old soul. See, I got you. I got you.
he's an old man yelling at clouds, but it's okay.
Rick saying I'll take Orton versus Gunther as a Flair Steamboat comparison over Ospreay and Danielson. All right, look, we're not bringing the clown show on tonight. We're not.
All right.
Talking about TK Circus. No, Rick, no. I know people are making those comparisons as well, but those people, I'm not going to apologize for calling stupid. But Lyra Valkyria has just been great, and they could have played this one out, and I kind of wish they would have. We did get the setup that we needed to get for later in the night, but I don't know. I hate seeing Lyra Valkyria get put into a filler match. I guess that's more personal preference than anything else.
Well, and I guess you're not the only one that felt like it was filler, because that was not on the Hulu trimmed down version that I watched. So
that's because Hulu knows they shouldn't have done that in the first place. We'd rather not see it than to see that. What the hell, Rick? Rick in the chat saying doodle doody doodle. I am not 100% what just happened in my chat.
I think that's a Homer Simpson reference, maybe, to the old man yelling at clouds comment. I think that might go together, maybe. I could also be totally making that up. I don't know. Sometimes.
Oh, okay. I know what Rick's doing now. See, he brought up some of the clown shows, so that's
that's circus music. Okay.
Yeah, that's actually a version of it's the printed out version of Tony Khan's theme music. You know, that's Tony Khan's theme music nowadays. So,
Good on you, Rick. I like that. Damien asking if he's having a stroke. Do you smell toast?
And see, when I was on the phone yesterday with Rick, there was a word he couldn't remember that was a simple word. And he was like, oh my God, Lil, I might have just had a stroke. I smelled toast earlier.
Rick says he's so disappointed in all of us. I'm sorry, Rick. All right, so before we get too far into TK Circus, let's jump back over here to Raw. CM Punk comes out, cuts a hell of a promo. I mean, talks about I've been at the bottom before, I've lost championships before, but you know, who would CM Punk be if he gave up the first time he lost? And as soon as he starts to get into it again, cue Seth Rollins music. Seth Rollins comes out, and I love it because CM Punk's talking, goes, son of a. So.
Well, and I popped super hard for the, well, I'm not dressed like a cowboy tonight, but I'll be your Huckleberry moment. Like that got me. I popped really hard for that.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Seth Rollins came out looking ready to fight. Like he wasn't ready to come out there and cut a promo. He's ready to fight.
Right.
And as soon as they get squared off and we're going to go at it, of course Drew McIntyre shows up because, you know, this is not time to fight. This is time for celebration. Drew's up in the crowd. He talks a lot of trash, which he's gotten so good at. I love hearing Drew McIntyre on the mic. And says something to Punk about pulls his bracelet that says your stupid looking dog and your lovely wife. And CM Punk beelines into the crowd, chasing Drew down. And out comes Bronson Reed out of not to, get in on Randy Orton stuff, but he showed up out of nowhere and just like flattened CM Punk and then does 6 tsunamis off the top rope. And then we all were sad because Seth Rollins died.
As good as Raw in its entirety was, at least the hour and a half version that I watched on Hulu, as good as everything was, that was probably my favorite part of the whole night. Because that was insanity, seeing all those people trying to get Bronson down from doing like number 3 or whichever one it was. And like, I didn't realize they allowed public executions on television anymore, let alone live on Raw. Like, God, that was great.
I picture Seth at the hospital laying in the bed and Adam Pearce and all the security guys around and him sounding like Day-Day from Next Friday talking about, why I ain't do nothing when the fat lady jumped on me. That's what I'm picturing right now.
And I love Mike Epps so much, so I love that you brought that up. That's great.
That's all I'm picturing out of Seth right now. But his sell on that, the coughing up the blood, I mean, the can't move right. That was kudos to him because that was one hell of a scene.
That was really, really good.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how much of that was actually sell, but I mean,
that's a lot of dude coming down on top of you. Bronson Reed is not small at all.
360 pounds.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Speaking of big people, we had New Day versus the Authors of Pain. Good to see Kofi back. Always been a Kofi fan. I wonder if Seth was ready to come back too quick. You know, I had wondered if Seth's knee had a problem. Like, why did we do this? Why is Seth hurt? After talking to Rick, talking to a few other people, I kind of had my eyes open to a side of this I didn't think about. This has done more, that segment did more for Bronson Reed than the entire last 6 months has.
And it didn't hurt Seth at all for that to happen.
No, not at all. Like, it doesn't hurt what Seth's got going on with Drew and Punk. Like, it doesn't hurt anything, and it did nothing but strap a rocket to Bronson Reed.
And it keeps Rollins out of, or a little more on the side still, of the Punk McIntyre stuff. to where he's kind of not a factor in that right now, but we can get back to him and Punk later. So
Right, and I'm about it. But so we have this New Day AOP match. Like I said, this was a good match. The highlight of this match for me, though, was the debut of Odyssey Jones. Odyssey Jones comes out, and that is a big dude. And like he grabs Karrion Kross and throws him into the crowd like it wasn't nothing. Of course, New Day gets the win on this, and Odyssey Jones gets in, helps clear the ring. Kofi's way excited about it. Here's the thing, though. Like the whole storyline thus far has been Karrion Kross telling Xavier, this is what's going on. You know, Kofi's doing things on his own. He's got you in his mind tagging along. Well, they had the thing in the back. You know, they had a little segment in the back where Kofi is excited, and Odyssey Jones says, I came because Kofi asked me to, said he needs the help, but nobody had said anything to Xavier about it. Are we going to get that point where they start seeing, wait a minute, Rick saying, I'm ready for people to get on board with how awesome Karrion Kross' story has been. The guy is a prophet, and even though he rarely wins his matches and feuds, ultimately he wins because he is proven right every damn time. That's absolutely correct. And of course, Mike's in there, says Odyssey Jones looks like Ced could be his mini-me. Anytime you can say Ced and
is a mini, oh my God.
Like, come on, man. Ced is a mini-me. That's, I'll cue that clown music too, but we ain't gonna get into that right now. This was, I'm interested to see where they go. I think this one is going to be less about matches and more about storyline and more about Xavier Woods stepping back and saying, what is Kofi actually doing here? That takes us to Damian Priest versus JD McDonough. Oh, no, it doesn't. It was Awesome Truth versus A-Town Down Under. As much as I don't want to say it, this match felt a little filler as well. I mean, I get what they're doing. They had the attack at SummerSlam, so this was an answer to that. Miz did big things in this. Like, he went off, and I was here for it. I enjoyed it. But you could tell he was frustrated at the end when they lost. And the first thing that comes to my mind is Miz going to turn on R-Truth? Because if so, then I'm going to say words that I can't say on the podcast about Miz.
I think they'll have fun if that's where that's going. I think that we'll get a lot of good stuff out of interactions with the two of them.
I'm just putting it out there now. If Miz turns on R-Truth going to make a phone call, and R-Truth and Little Jimmy going to kick the hell out of the Miz. I just want y'all to know that. I'm calling that right now. Good stuff. I hope that's not the way it goes, but I think you're right. It's if they do the turn, then they'll have a lot of fun with it. Rick saying, of course it was filler. Truth came out and did his awful rap. Rick, what's up? Why? Then stood there like a goof while Miz did all the work. There was a little bit of that. I'll give you that, Rick. Rick's going to call me after the show and cuss me out for saying that. I already know.
Well, and I love Miz, like, it just in general. There is a lot to love about him and the way that he has handled his career and the business. But he really does work better as a heel.
He does.
He really does kind of work better when he's a little shitty. So,
and as it stands right now, I mean, what better way for that heel Miz to come out than to turn on R-Truth? And Rick, I've told you once, and I'll tell you again, R-Truth is a national treasure and should be treated as such. How dare you wish such things? Shameful. All right, so I'm getting way off track here. Let me get back over here. So we got after Awesome Truth, after everything happened, they did lose. A-Town Down Under gets the win, but that's Dino Nuggies. We get to Damian Priest versus JD McDonough. I was of a mindset that it's a bad day to be JD McDonough. Rick. Rick in the chat saying, I'm treating him like a treasure. I'm burying him. You just might not get a Christmas card this year, Rick. The nerve. No, I had a mindset that it's going to be a bad day to beat JD McDonough because he's going up against a very pissed off Damian Priest. I've got to give it to JD, though. He held his own for the first part of this match, right up until the slaps and the kicks and everything started happening. And then he got ragdolled all over the place. And, of course, out come Carlito and Dom and Liv to start the beatdown. Hit the music. This is my brutality. Here comes Mommy. And she and Damian clear the ring. Liv's taking off running for her life, but doesn't get away. Mommy gets her hands on her, drops her on into the ring post, and is about to do something very, very nefarious whenever Dom grabs her and they tear ass through the crowd to get away. My favorite part of that whole thing, though, was Rhea and Priest in the middle of the ring hugging it out. The twins of terror.
Yep.
Ready for war. And I love it.
I love that we got a real moment of bros before hoes because Rhea could have continued to chase Dom and Liv out of there. Liv and Dom is where her story is at, but she didn't. She went back and she helped Damian, and I thought that was really freaking cool.
I love where they're going with this. Again, I don't want to be Dom anytime soon. No, thank you.
No, I wouldn't either.
That's going to get way bad. After that, we go to Io Sky versus Sonya Deville. Please welcome to Filler Part 2, Revenge of the Filler. This match just didn't do it for me. I mean, it was a decent match, don't get me wrong, but I just don't feel like we accomplished anything in that match. And
it's another one that you mentioned filler, and it was not part of the Hulu Slim Down. So
right, it just like I said, it's Filler Part 2, Revenge of the Filler.
Yeah.
I hope that they do something with this. I kind of feel like with those three, and you've got Lyra Valkyria and Chance and Carter, and now you've got our women's tag team champs along with Blair Davenport. We could see kind of a trios thing happening, and I would be all right with that. Like, I think it would be cool, but this match to me didn't accomplish anything, and so I wasn't the biggest fan. I was a very big fan of the match that happened after that, though. That being American Made, which is Chad Gable and the Creeds.
Creed, yeah.
Going up against the Wyatt Six. I loved everything about this.
I did too.
It's okay. Where do I even start? Uncle Howdy sitting in the rocking chair. Eric Rowan putting his mask on the rocking chair. Where everybody else threw their mask down. He put his. For those that saw this, you'll understand why this was such a big thing to me. He put his mask on the rocking chair, and on the back of his mask is Luke Harper's old mask. So it's like Luke Harper was watching the show, and I'm not gonna lie, that got me.
Yeah.
Just the homage, it got me. Can we talk about for a second Dexter Lumis looking like, Rob Zombie meets Charles Manson? Like, these...
I messaged Rick earlier because he was the one that told me, like, Lil, you need to go watch this. I really think you're going to like this. And that was one of my first takeaways was it is crazy to me how much cooler he looks. And the only thing that's different is the dreadlocks. But he looks like a completely different, way more creepy character. And that's really the only, because he had some black shit around his eyes when I saw him before.
Right.
That's the only difference. But that little thing changed so much about his appearance.
Like, he no longer looks like the serial killer. He looks like the guy that ate the serial killer.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like I dug it. And Eric Rowan, Gacy, just the cohesion in that group. And the fact that there's that cohesion, yes, they're a good group and they're doing what they're supposed to do in the ring, but that cohesion tied to, Uncle Howdy made us a family, and the cohesion that goes into the story, like it's just a big circle, and I love it. It's so good.
Yeah. Well, and their in-ring was really good. Like, I really enjoyed that they all kind of had one thing that they did that was like, startling to whoever was in there in that moment. And I thought it was really cool that Loomis uses like a frog splash, but he flaps his arms, so it's kind of like the buzzard thing. Like, I thought that was a really, those little details sometimes just really make or break stuff.
No, I love every minute of it. I loved that when Eric Rowan was in the ring, Chad Gable's trying to get back over by the ropes, and Dexter Loomis and Joe Gacy just kind of poked their heads up off the side, and he's like, "Yep, I got to go away from here now." Like the creepy factor is great.
Yeah.
I love every minute of it. They are going to do big things, without question. They're going to do big things. As far as Raw goes, we went off the air after that with the Wyatt 6 in the middle of the ring. All in all, I'm gonna give it B+, borderline A. Just because we had 3 matches that were filler.
Well, see, I could say an A because I didn't watch any of the filler crap.
See,
because like from my point of view, everything I saw was fantastic. Like, that's the best Raw I've watched in a long time.
Now, here's something I want to point out about this Raw. It's the best Raw I've seen in a long time. It's the best Raw you've seen in a long time. I'm sure that most people that watched it in the chat will say this was one of the best Raws in a long time, with 0 interaction with the Bloodline.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing a lot of people saying that the WWE is not going to be able to do Raw, not going to be able to make things happen without the Bloodline, because that is the story now. That is their bread and butter. This show had a short recap about Roman coming back, and that was the only mention of the Bloodline in the whole thing. So, and let me ask you this. When was it, we've got SmackDown tomorrow night where Roman Reigns is going to be there to confront Solo Sikoa. When was the last time you were this excited about both shows in one week?
Probably before I started wrestling, if I'm being honest about it. So like Attitude Era.
Yeah, it's been a long time, and I love that we're there again.
Yeah.
So, been a great week. Now, since I've got you on here, we've got to talk about a couple of things, some controversial things happening. We're going to start with, of course, the most controversial thing that has been talked about on our show recently. Nuggies or wings? I need to know where you're at. Nuggies or wings?
I am 1,000,000% Nuggies, and here's why, before I get any shit from anybody. I don't care what you call them. I don't care if you want to call them Nuggies, if you want to call them boneless wings. I get boneless wings really isn't a thing. But traditional wings is too much work and mess for too little food.
Agreed.
So give me white meat chicken all day long, whether you want to call it a nugget, a wing, a tender. I don't care. With your finest ketchup, please.
Team Nuggies all day. Rick is not impressed with your answer.
Oh, I know he's not.
That was for you, Rick. Just throwing that out there. But all joking and stuff aside, we do have something kind of controversial to talk about. And when we get done talking about it, here in just a moment, I'm going to show you a video, and I want to get your take on it. Of course, we had BCW show, Hot Blooded, not long ago, right? And in one of the number 1 contenders matches, you had Phoenix versus Jeb. Jeb Bingham and Phoenix going for the number 1 contendership. And where the controversy comes in is we have kind of a mixed crowd. When the pin happened, we got the 1, 2, 3, but from where I was sitting in the commentary, it did kind of look to me like Phoenix had a shoulder up before that 3 came down. So I want to get your take on it. So I'm going to ask the guy, if you would, go ahead and roll that beautiful bean footage, and let's see what your take on it is.
I am probably kind of the wrong one to ask because you guys know that I am actually kind of blind. But I don't know, but the way that I was always taught is the referee's decision is final. Even if it's wrong. And I've seen titles overturned, you know, on less questionable circumstances than that. So, you know, that's what the ref is supposed to do. And unless management, you know, thinks that something, you know, shady went on, money changed hands or whatever the case is, you know.
Well, it just makes you wonder, because this isn't just a match. This is for the number one contendership to that BCW heavyweight title. And the guy doing a good job of moving things around here. I've got to say, just watching it from my purview, sitting in the commentary, he had his shoulder up, like he kicked. So it'll be interesting to see where that happens. If you guys have seen it, you know, you guys just saw the video. If you were there, I'd love to hear your take on it. Like, what do you see there? Was it a pin? Was it a clean 1, 2, 3? Did he have his shoulder up?
Well, and honestly, I need to go back and I need to watch it on a bigger screen where I can see it a little more detailed. Like, I'm not gonna lie. But you know, this is something I go through every year with the NFL, is the whole making calls in the game and then coming back afterwards and being like, oh, we were wrong in this playoff game where this moment completely changed the outcome of everything. Mm-hmm. You know, I hate that. Like, if you did it wrong, just eat it and do it wrong. Don't come out afterwards and say, oh, I made a mistake, because what good does it do now that you just told everybody they lost money because you fucked up? Yeah,
all you did was piss everybody off.
Yeah.
Looking over at the chat, Mike saying he will be addressing this soon. See, so we were creating enough stir that we're gonna get some things done here.
Not trying to ruffle any feathers. Don't come beat me up, Phoenix.
Daddy Bot saying the ref was in the wrong spot to see it. That's a valid point as well. Yeah. Rick saying this is why there should always be a second ref on the outside, which is something he's considering for Squared Circle Pro in 2025. Yeah.
Well, we've even done that a few times already.
Yeah, that has happened. Damien saying she's a Cowboys fan. Well, Lil, it was good to have you on the show.
I'm not just a Cowboys fan, though.
Oh, no?
No, I also, well, up until Drew retired, my team really was the Saints. Now I'm kind of lost. I don't know anymore.
Well, the way that you know, as we've said throughout the day, wake up and choose violence, we will gladly welcome you to the Raiders camp.
I don't hate the Raiders. I don't hate the Raiders. I don't love the Raiders. I don't hate the Raiders.
You are one of very few that are just willing to say that. I ain't gonna lie. I've been a Raiders fan since I was a little kid. Like, I was Marcus Allen, Bo Jackson. That was my jam.
The very first picture ever taken of me outside of the hospital was in my granddad's lap in a Cowboys onesie. So, like, I literally don't have a choice.
You know, I understand that. Rick is in the chat saying Nuggies and now sports ball. Did I die and go to hell?
I don't know. It wasn't as hot today. Is this hell? Did Satan get air conditioning?
Oh, all right. I see you, J-Reb. J-Reb in the chat saying everyone has their faults. You know what? You and I will have that conversation. Just I'll get with you after the show. We will talk about that. So we are coming up on that 9:15 mark. I can't wait to see what Mike puts out about this, because it is a valid question. Like, I mean,
yeah,
there is some question to it, and I'm interested to see. I'm kind of like you. I've always been told the ref's decision is final, but I'm interested to see where this goes. So before we get to the end of the show, I've got to ask, with everything coming up, everything that's going on, let everybody that's watching, everybody that's listening know, where are we going to see Lilith Blood in the months to come?
Okay, so lately I've been doing a lot of thinking, trying to figure out kind of where I want to go, what I want to do. I haven't really been super secretive about the fact that, you know, I'm 44, I'm going to be 45 in October. Definitely got more in the rear view mirror than I do looking through the windshield, you know, but I'm not ready to be done just yet. And I kind of want to make as much noise as I can on the way out. So I talked to BCW management, and I got permission. So I'm issuing a rated E for everybody open challenge for BCW, for this next BCW show. Live to Rise on September 14th. So
let me make
yeah.
sure, hold on there. Let me make sure I'm understanding this right. At Live to Rise, September 14th, we have an official rated E for everyone open challenge from Lilith Blood.
Yes.
Oh, this is
I already got approval from management, and I just wanted to put it out there because I felt like this might be the best way to get the most people invested in it. So yeah, whoever wants to show up and fight me can show up and fight me.
And just a fair warning for any of you that are listening right now, any that have, you know, come out to the BCW shows and work. Think hard about it. Think we've made it clear that wake up and choose violence thing. I'm just saying.
I need to rework the Ricky Bobby speech about how I wake up in the morning and I piss excellence. Like, I need to work that into I wake up in the morning and I choose violence. And yeah.
Blood, it's already been answered. Damian Blood says, I'll fight you.
He already knows there ain't never anything between us but air and opportunity.
I love. Well, see, where he messed up is the last time he was on the show with pants on. I will remind everybody. He made it clear that he has won 3 out of 739,345 fights with you.
Oh, I'm sure he's about to put a number up there. Let's see what ridiculousness it is.
Rick says if you win this match, he's going to buy you wings. Bone-in wings.
Well, he can have the bone-in wings, because if I want to be covered in hot sauce, I'll just cover myself in hot sauce. Because that's like all wings are good for, is just getting it everywhere.
Disclaimer, that is not part of the show. That will not be happening.
No, that would go behind a paywall.
Damon says he is 4,987,654, and he is proud of those 3 wins. So
I don't even know what to say to that.
That's big news. Like I'm still taking this in. A rated E for everyone challenge. Now, for those that aren't familiar with you wrestling, who haven't had the opportunity to see you wrestle live, when Lilith Blood says E for everyone, she means E for everyone. She's not saying everyone in the women's locker room. No, this is E for everyone. So there's no telling who is going to answer this, and I'm just waiting. Who's it going to be?
I love BCW. I haven't gotten to work there a whole lot. I've only been there a couple of times, and I've been there a couple of times just to pitch in and help out in the back and stuff. But I love what BCW does and the purpose of their shows, and I love the environment. And so I was like, I kind of am strictly SCP. I really don't work a lot of other places. It's hard for me to travel because I can't just get in my car and drive. And I'm not willing, I'm too old, and I'm a mom. I'm just not willing to get in a car with just anybody and go on a road trip nowadays. So, you know, I was like, I really want to do something. And yeah, BCW felt like a great place to make some fun happen and make some memories. So,
And talking about BCW, I love the fact that I get to be a part of that. I get to, Mike's been awesome enough to let me be a part of
Yeah.
the commentary, be a part of the show by being on commentary. And you talk about BCW shows and what they stand for and what they do. This show, Live to Rise, September 14th, where we're having this challenge, where Sed and I are going to have our conversation. The cause for that, I can't say enough about. Live to Rise is our first responder appreciation show.
yes.
Like they don't get nearly enough flowers for everything that they do. So I think it's awesome that Mike can put together a show specifically geared towards honoring those first responders. So
Yeah.
Kudos to Mike for that. I think it's great what you do, man, and I'm proud to be a part of it. Especially since I know there's going to be a rated E for everyone open challenge.
You know, somebody's getting beat up.
See, already, somebody's getting an ass whoop, and I get to commentate it.
I mean, it might be me. I don't know, but definitely some ass kicking somewhere.
I don't get to commentate it. I'm the general manager that night. I forgot about that. I'm GM that night.
Yeah.
It's a whole new role for me, and I'll have words with anyone that has anything to say about how I look in a blazer. I'm just saying. I have to be professional. But no, I'm looking forward to it. Like, I'm still throwing off. We're gonna have the open challenge gonna happen. Somebody gonna get their ass whooped. Violence will be chosen. It's gonna be good. But we are.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun.
We are coming up on that point where we're going to start winding it down. So I do want to offer you the opportunity to speak to the people that are watching, the people listening, to the wrestling world in general. My friend, the floor is all yours.
Well, yeah, as always, thank you to everybody that works to make it happen, whether you're someone I'm sharing the ring with or you're someone that is doing commentary, running sound, like whatever your position is, I'm grateful for you because we couldn't do this without you. And, same to the fans. You guys are the reason we're there. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if they call me a suck up. What we do is to make you forget about the crap that is weighing on your mind for those couple hours that you're at a show. And I feel like it's really, really important. And I love everybody that allows it to happen in whatever the aspect is. But make sure that you're out there and you're being supportive and go into whether it's indie wrestling shows, indie concerts, musicians, bands, all that. Like, get out and support local and independent and, love everybody. And hopefully I'll see you guys soon.
Well, and I couldn't have said it better. And since you said it, I've got to throw it out there. We all know, anybody that's watched the show knows. Anybody that's been to a Squared Circle Pro show knows. Your music, best music in independent wrestling right now. But I got to ask you, best music in televised wrestling right now. What are you feeling?
Oh,
See, I threw a wild card out there.
Yeah, you kind of did because okay, I like Rhea's music, but I really don't like the band. I only like Rhea's music because it's Rhea's music.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Cody's. Honestly, probably Cody's would be my favorite. And that's weird because I know D is like so confused right now. I was used to complain about how Cody's music sounded kind of cheesy, like it was written by some of his friends for him.
Honestly, I can.
But it has kind of grown on me.
I feel that. I do like Cody's music. Of course, who doesn't like to do the whoa,
Yeah.
I personally, right now, am a fan of Seth's music as well. But Monday night, the version of Shattered that the Wyatt Six played.
Yeah.
I can't get past that. That may be my favorite music in televised wrestling right now?
Well, the music that Bray had, the "Let Me In," that was by Code Orange, that was one of my daughter's favorite songs for like a year. We had to listen to it every day in the car on the way to school. And I do kind of get some of those vibes from Shatter. I just haven't heard it enough just yet for it to be a favorite. But it's definitely one that it's not generic like a lot of people's are, and that's what bothers me about a lot of music. They just sound like anybody could put it together. You know, there's nothing special about it.
Well, and I miss the days where you could get the, WWE, the music, like the albums.
Yeah.
I almost said the CDs, but then people are going to call me old and shit. So
I know
have
what
all
that.
that CD. Rick says, as much as he hates to admit it, he's low-key kind of hooked on the "I Believe in Joe Hendry" song. That.
Oh my God. No, I love it. I love it. It is so cheesy and wonderful. And my husband will just look at me and just say his name. And that's all it takes to get both of us started with the singing and the clap. It's so stupid. So stupid. But I love it.
I've already gotten to a point where, friends of mine that watch wrestling, enjoy wrestling, we'll be having a random conversation. I'll tell them, I understand you feel that way, but do you believe in Joe Hendry? Like he has that same thing that I was talking about with LA Knight. Like it's just organic.
Yeah.
And he's going to do big things as well. Speaking of big things, if you have not had the opportunity to check out independent wrestling, I know we talk a lot about West Texas independent wrestling. That's where my heart is. That's where I'm at. I am a huge fan of West Texas independent wrestling, but independent wrestling in general, if you're wherever you are, if there's a show nearby, go check it out, because you will not find a more dedicated group of workers than you will find at an independent wrestling show. And that's from the door to behind the curtain. Everybody is there to work, to entertain, and to give you that couple of hours of forget everything except what's happening in the ring. So if you've not done so, please go check out independent wrestling. If you're in the West Texas area, September 14th, we've got Live to Rise, BCW at the TMW Event Center. Rick, I believe it's the next weekend.
Yes. September 21st is SCP Birthiversary, our 13th birthday.
Yep, the 13th birthday. Squared Circle Pro Birthiversary happening on the 21st. I mean, wrestling in this area, wrestling in West Texas, for whether it's OSW, Squared Circle Pro, BCW, Top of Texas, Rampage, South Plains Championship Wrestling, everybody has stepped their game up. And there's not a better time I can think of in the 44 years I've been alive. See, we're in the 44 Club. I'm there too. In the 44 years I've been alive, I cannot think of a better time to be a fan of wrestling, because it is at a spot now where I don't think it's ever been before, and I am here for it. So make sure you're checking it out. I want to say thank you to everybody that came out and watched tonight, everybody that's listening. If you caught it live, thank you so much. If you're catching it afterwards, you mean just as much. Thank you so much for checking out our content. And as always, Lilith Blood, thank you for being on the show. It is always a pleasure to have you on.
It is always great to be here. Always a good time.
I can't wait to see you accept your challenge. I'm still tripping on that. That's going to be good stuff.
Well, here's just hoping it doesn't just bite me in the ass and I don't end up with, a monster trying to kill me. But
well, I mean,
what's life without a little bit of mystery?
That's true. That's what makes it fun.
Yep.
Be watching our socials. I know I've thrown it out there. Go to the socials, click all the things, but be watching our socials, because we're going to be following this very closely. And anything that happens in this, if there's somebody that accepts, if there's any questions about it, we will be putting information out on the socials about it. So be watching the socials. We will be back here next Thursday 8 p.m. Central to do it all over again. And I hope that each and every one of you will be there as well. Until then, I'm Guapo. That's Lilith Blood. We're not your average marks. Catch y'all next week. Yeah.